Anyone attempted that? While working with @auto-void, if I go for different dependent injections using field injection, set injection, constructor injection, and arbitrary method injection, what will be the final injected value, boss? This is the task I have given to you people. What will be the final injected value? If all of them are injecting different values, what will be the final injected value? Let's see, guys. There is no fixed answer, I will tell. It all depends upon in which order we are keeping setter method and arbitrary method. So shall we start the experiment, boss? Okay. Here we are having application context.xml, guys. Total how many are there? 3 are there. But total 4 levels we want to check. Shall I develop one more dependent class for that? Let us start developing one more dependent class of that kind. Yes, guys. Where is this? @auto required auto void annotation, boss. Here COMT. Here we are having blue dot that I will save as first flight. First flight. First flight dot Java, boss. Change the class name to first flight, guys. In the constructor also, let's go for first flight. Yes, delivering order ID, order products using first flight. Yes, we are ready with one more dependent, boss. Let me configure this dependent in application context.xml file. Copy this, paste it. F flight. What's the class name, guys? First flight. Super. Total how many dependents we are having? 4 dependents. Now let me make sure that field level it is injecting what, boss? Field level it is injecting FedEx. By default required is true only. I need not to mention separately. Next, constructor level it is trying to inject what, guys? DTDC. Forget about this. Setter method level. Setter method level. I would like to inject blue dot. What is the bean ID of blue dot? B dot. Okay, guys. Arbitrary method level. This is arbitrary method level. You know that. This is arbitrary method level. Here I will try to inject arbitrary method level. I would like to inject what, guys? Okay, F flight. F flight. That's it, boss. So now all are ready, guys. So now let's see what happens. Strategy design pattern AC. All this stuff is there. Let's run the application. When you run the application, all executed, guys. It's not like that. All participated in pre-instantiation. But what is the final value that got injected? Assign is the last method that is called, and observe very carefully using first flight. Why first flight? Assign method is dealing with assign method, arbitrary method is dealing with first flight. Now I'll keep assign method first, setter method last. I'll keep assign method first and setter method last. Okay, now you run the application, boss. Now you run the application. Now what is coming, guys? Set courier is executing, and observe very carefully, blue dot is coming. Blue dot is coming. Did you notice that one, boss? Did you notice that one, boss? So that means there is no fixed answer. There is no fixed answer. Whoever is there last, if setter method is there last, setter method value will be taken as the final value. If arbitrary method is there as last method in the target class, arbitrary method injected value will be taken as last value, but not the field injected value, not the constructor injected value. Is that clear, guys? No, constructor injected value will not be the last. Why? Because during object creation only constructor executes. Later, that value will be overridden either with arbitrary method value or setter method value. Arbitrary method value or setter method value. I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. So final answer is what? Either setter method or arbitrary method, whoever present last in the target class. Whoever present last in the target class, that value will be taken as the final value. I hope you got the clarity, guys. There is no fixed answer for this. It all depends upon the availability of setter method and arbitrary method. File new, save, main 11th @auto-wide, and today we are going to discuss some stereotype annotations also. Yes, boss. Say paste, guys. Yes. Answer. Either setter method or arbitrary method, injected value. Whoever 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 placed lastly in the target class, whoever placed lastly in the target class will be taken as the final value. Will be taken as the final value. The injection order is first constructor injection, next field injection. Array, why? How can you say field injection is second? Simple reason, boss. Without object creation, member variables will not allocate memory. First object creation, then properties will allocate memory. So that's why first constructor injection will happen, then field injection will happen. Field injection. Then third one, setter injection oblique arbitrary injection. That depends upon availability, boss. Setter injection oblique arbitrary injection. Whoever available first. So this is the order of injection, boss. I think you got the answer, guys. Whose injection will be taken as the final value. That all depends upon setter method and arbitrary method availability order, boss. Fine. Okay. Now, interviewer asked me one more question. Sir, this is a private property, na? Observe very carefully. I commented setter method, arbitrary method, and constructor. I just enable field level injection. Still injection is happened or not happened? See, injection is happened. What is the one that is happening, boss? FedEx is injected or not? I hope everyone noticing that, guys. Is there any setter method execution, boss? Is there any constructor execution, guys? Is there any arbitrary method execution? Without having support for arbitrary method, setter method, constructor, injection is done at field level or not? How it is possible? That too, it is a private. That too, it is a private property. Okay, let me say one thing. When field level injection is enabled, it will access the property through reflection API. It will access the private property through reflection API and completes the injection on that property. Other day I have shown IOC container getting access to private constructor and completing what? Injection process, construct injection process or object creation process. Similarly, here it uses reflection API to get access to private property and completes what? Field level injection. Simply completes what injection, guys? Field level injection. This is also very, very important. Everyone thinks that while doing field level injection, it internally takes the support of constructor or setter or arbitrary method. No, 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 no. Field level injection is the special injection that is introduced in the annotation support only. In XML driven configuration, purely XML driven configuration, there is no field level injection. I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. Okay, now, right, boss. Question. In the above code, courier is private property of Flipkart class. Then how field injection is happening? Injection is happening. How field injection is happening? Answer. Answering. After creating target class object, nothing but Flipkart guys, object, the IOC container, okay, get access to private property, courier using reflection API, using reflection API, using reflection API. There is no possibility of stopping it, guys. You have to allow that. Okay, using reflection API. Okay, using reflection API and completes injection at field level. Complete injection at field level. Yes, boss. I hope you got the clarity, guys. Fine. So that's the reason. Yeah, now listen. That's the reason in industry, while working with annotation, people prefers field level injection a lot, guys. So instead of applying at the rate auto void at constructor level, setter level, arbitrary method level, they will straight away apply on what? Field level. It's easy and faster and improves the readability also a lot. So that's why most of the time you will see at the rate auto void happening on what? Field level only. So that's why I try to use at the rate auto void at field level. So it simplifies the process, nothing else. Annotation level injection means we will be generally using, okay, at the rate auto void at field level. So it will use internally reflection API to get access to that property and completes a field level injection. Is that clear, guys? While working with annotation driven Spring Pro, annotation driven Spring configurations, we generally prefer, come on guys, we generally prefer injecting values to values or objects to come on guys, values to has a properties using field level injections. That means at the rate auto void placed on has a properties. At the rate auto void placed on has a properties, guys. Is that clear, guys? Fine. Next one. So now let me introduce new discussion called stereotype annotations. New discussion called stereotype annotations. So far, we have used annotation. Everyone should focus, guys. So far, we have used annotation only for injection purpose, guys. only for injection purpose, and as alternate to at the rate required. To apply restriction on setter injection, we have what? Required annotation, but that is also deprecated in the new features. So solid annotation, the solid annotation that we have discussed so far is only what? At the rate auto-void, which is there for injection purpose. Am I audible, guys? If you are having audio video problem, please check your network bandwidth once. Yes, boss. So now we need to think about configuring Java classes as Spring Beans using annotations, boss. From my side, voice is okay. Check your side. Check your network bandwidth. Ashish, everyone is saying okay. From your side only problem, please check it out. Yes, guys. Now listen carefully. Sir, why there? These annotations are given. These annotations are given to configure Java classes as Spring Beans. Spring Beans having given bean IDs or default bean IDs. Either given bean IDs or default bean IDs will be utilized. What are those, sir? Sir, why they are named as stereotype? First, let me list out them. At the rate component. This is one annotation. At the rate service. This is another annotation. At the rate repository. At the rate controller. At the rate controller. I'll introduce more stereotype annotations later. For the timing, you just remember these four things. I'll introduce more stereotype annotations later, guys. Okay, boss. What is the use of at the rate component? To configure Java class as Spring Bean without any specialities. To configure Java class as Spring Bean without any specialities. So, yeah, there are multiple stereotype annotations, nearly 6 to 7 stereotype annotations are there. I will introduce remaining stereotype annotations later. For the time being, you please focus on what I am presenting. To configure Java class as Spring Bean without any specialities. That is the work of what? At the rate component, boss. That's the work of at the rate component. Nothing but makes IOC container to create Spring Bean class object. To create given Java class object and object to make it as Spring Bean. So indirectly what is happening, guys? Indirectly what happening? It makes IOC container to create a object for given Java class and to make it as what? Spring Bean. So what about at the rate service, boss? To configure Java class as Spring Bean come service class. Spring Bean come service class. Basically, it makes it as a Spring Bean plus service class. That means what? What is the advantage of making it as service class, guys? We can enable transaction management. We can get transaction management. That means on certain logic like transfer money, we can apply do everything or nothing principle, boss. What principle? Do everything or nothing principle. We can get transaction management support. Transaction management support. We can get transaction management support. So always remember one thing, at the rate service is extension of at the rate component, guys. At the rate service internally uses at the rate component. Okay, it is enhancement to at the rate component annotation. Enhancement to at the rate component annotation. You want to feel it? So let just to open API documentation, you will get at the rate service docs. See, guys, if you look at the documentation, at interface service, on the top of it, what is there, guys? At the rate component is there. You click on component, this is one annotation, and service is internally using component or not. That means at the rate service is extension of what? At the rate component or not. See, indicates the annotated class is service class. Annotated class is what? Service class. I hope you are understanding my statement, boss. Right, boss. Next one, at the rate repository, boss. At the rate repository. I just think about layered applications, guys. In layered applications, not only Java beans, Spring Beans we need a special behavior also. DAO class, service class, control class. Yes, for that one, these extension annotations are given, boss. To make ordinary Java class as Spring Bean at the rate component is sufficient. No, Spring Bean come service class at the rate service. Spring Bean come DAO class. Then we have to use at the rate repository. Spring Bean come controller class. Then we have to use at the rate controller. I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. Okay. So to configure Java class as Spring Bean come DAO oblique repository class. DAO oblique repository class. Yeah, what's the advantage of configuring it as a repository or DAO class? By using at the rate repository, boss, to convert underlying JDBC, or hibernate exceptions to hibernate JDBC or hibernate exceptions to Spring specific exception. Spring specific exception. This is the advantage of taking it as what? DAO class or repository class, guys. In future, we are going to write persistence logic either by using Spring JDBC or Spring ORM or Spring Data JPA. All of them internally uses plain JDBC. So that means originally JDBC exceptions will come. To convert them to Spring specific exceptions is this at the rate repository annotation is very, very useful, boss. At the end, we are developing application in Spring. We would like to see all exception coming in Spring, but but Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, anything internally uses plain JDBC. The originally raised exception is what? Plain JDBC exception. No, I want to have a translator to convert those plain JDBC exceptions to Spring specific exception. And that kind of advantage we can get when you configure it as Spring Bean by using what? At the rate repository. So generally we use it to configure Java classes as DAO classes in Spring environment. So this is also enhancement of at the rate component annotation. It is enhancement of enhancement to at the rate component in annotation. Now we have got at the rate controller, guys. I'll introduce more stereotype annotations later. For the timing, you just worry about these four, which are relevant to our discussion. To configure Java class as Spring Bean come web controller class. Web controller class. What do you mean by web controller class? Capability of having capability to receive HTTP request, having capability to receive and handle HTTP request. Yes, boss. This is also an enhancement of at the rate component annotation. At the rate component annotation. If you are interested, I will confirm them also. See, guys, at the rate repository docs. At the rate repository docs. Just have a look, guys. What is there? It is also extension of at the rate component. I hope you noticed it. At the rate controller. At the rate controller. Spell mistake is there. At the controller docs. Have a look on this, boss. It is also extension of at the rate component. Are you able to see that one, boss? Fine. But listen carefully. Our IOC container basically linked with what? Acha. First of all, let me explain why these named as stereotype annotations. Observe stereotype, boss. All are looking for same purpose or not? All are looking with the same purpose or not, with small changes. That's the reason these are called stereotype annotations, boss. That's the reason these are called stereotype annotation. Generally we say boys dressing is stereotype dressing. What do you mean by that? Whatever they wear at the end, pant and shirt only. Are you getting my point there, guys? Whatever they wear, so that is stereotype dressing only. At the end, no variety will be there for them. Trouser and shirt will be there. Observe all these annotations, small enhancements are there. Understanding my point? Small enhancements are there, but okay, at the end, all of them are there for the same purpose. making Java class as what? Spring Beans. I hope you noticed it that guys. That's the reason they are named as what? Stereotype annotations. What annotations guys? Stereotype. But we cannot give same statement when it comes to girls dressing us. We cannot give girl dressing, we cannot say stereotype dressing because they have different varieties, right? They can wear any color, any pattern, okay, any style, but boys cannot wear any pattern of dressing. So that's why generally call boys dressing is called stereotype dressing. Girl dressing is not at all called as what? Stereotype dressing. Since all these annotations also doing one or other similar things, that's the reason these are called as what? Stereotype annotation. Other stereotype annotations also there, I will introduce at right time, don't worry about that. Since all the above annotations all the above annotations are doing more or less similar work, similar work similar work configuring Java classes as spring beans by creating object for them objects for them, we can say they are same type of annotations or stereotype annotations. Stereotype annotations. But that's fine, guys. But one small point to observe here. We configure user defined classes having these annotations. What about predefined classes? Because we cannot open and add these annotation in the predefined classes. For example, you take calendar class, you take for example, you take calendar class. For example, you take date class. For example, you take some other class. Listen carefully, guys. In in annotation driven configuration, you have to remember one thumb rule. What is that thumb rule? Number one, configure user defined classes using stereotype annotation and link them with the XML file, Spring Bean configuration file, by using context colon component scan, where you have to specify the package names where these annotations are available, where these annotation classes are available. And number two, configure predefined class still by using XML itself. You have to still configure predefined classes using XML itself. Regular bean tags only we have to use. Why, sir? Can we open source code of predefined classes to add annotations? Can we open predefined classes source code to add annotations? No. So that's the reason still you have to configure predefined classes using bean tag only. Array, when I say predefined class, it may be Spring supplied predefined class, third party supplied predefined class, some other vendor supplied predefined class. Do you think you will get access to source code every time, guys? No. So that's why thumb rule you have to remember here. You what? While working with annotation driven Spring configuration, configure user defined classes using stereotype annotation and link them with configuration file by using one special tag called context colon component scan. I'll introduce it in a moment. And always configure predefined classes with the support of what? XML configuration only, by regularly using bean tags only. bean tags only. Okay. To link, to link stereotype annotations with stereotype annotations annotations based spring bean spring beans with spring bean configuration file. We need to place context colon component hyphen scan where you have to mention package names, guys. Component colon context colon component scan. You have to mention the package names like com.ent beans. If any multiple packages are there, we have to mention those multiple package names here. Otherwise, our IOC container knows, okay, in so and so package classes are there having annotations, because we add these annotation on the top of the classes, boss. Okay, we have to add all these annotation on the top of the classes. For example, if you want to make Flipkart class as a, if you want to make Flipkart as a Flipkart, let us assume. So on the top of it, we will say at the rate component fpkt fpkt. Here, if you are interested, you can go for courier. I'm just giving basic idea, guys. Complete code I will give later. Courier. Courier. Yes, you are interested for injection, at the rate auto avoid. No, you want to avoid ambiguity problem. As usually, we have to go for what? At the rate qualifier. At the rate qualifier FedEx. At the rate qualifier FedEx, boss. Like this, you can write all the annotation. Earlier, we used to configure this Flipkart class, all these things were, guys, using XML. Now I am configuring by using annotation. Are you able to see that, guys? This will act as a bean ID, boss. Okay, similarly, you want to configure dependent classes also as bean IDs. Okay, as a spring bean. See this DTDC implements courier. Here also some code, guys. So these are not any special service class or repository classes. These are ordinary Java classes which I want to see as a spring bean. That's why at the rate component is enough. See this DTDC. This will act as a bean ID, boss. This will act as a bean ID. That means when object is created, this will become object name. Everyone knows that point now, boss. Bean ID internally act as what? Object name. When object is created, it will act as a object name. Similarly, you can configure one more thing. What is this? Here, if you are interested, you can configure blue dot. Blue dot. And if you are interested, you can give what? One bean ID over here. B dot. Like this, we can configure, guys. But how does it knows? It has to recognize these classes through annotations. For that purpose, we should place context colon component scan, boss. Here you have to mention all the packages where these beans are available. So if all beans are there in same package, one package name is enough. No, these are different classes are there in different packages. You can mention them as what? Comma separated list of values. What values, guys? Comma separated list of values. Okay, guys. So we have another annotation called at the rate scope to specify scope also, boss. But right now you don't worry about that. Right now you just worry about only this part. So shall I convert this application, boss? Array, slowly we are going to reduce XML and we are completely going to work with annotations only. Yes, boss. So now let's see, guys. Copy, paste. Strategy DP at the rate auto wide, and I am interested to work with stereotype annotations. Stereotype annotations. Chandan, it is an extension of existing discussion, please. Okay, guys. Stereotype annotations. Observe very carefully, guys. I'm closing the existing project, boss. Application context.xml, boss. Now, observe very carefully. I'm just emptying entire XML file. I'm not configuring anything over here. Did you notice that, boss? Everyone, please focus. Yes, boss. Now, come here. First, go to blue dot one. How to configure it as Spring Bean at the rate component, boss? Okay. At the rate component b dot. Yes, this will become bean ID, boss. Are you noticing it, guys? This will become bean ID. Fine, that's the number one. Number two, this is the interface. You need not to add any annotation. Another one, DTDC component. Tell me, guys, all these are user-defined classes or predefined classes? User-defined classes. User-defined classes means I can configure by using stereotype annotations or not. Definitely, I can configure by using stereotype annotation. See, at the rate component DTDC. Now this will become bean ID, boss. Next, FedEx. I'm also configuring. At the rate component, guys. Okay, FedEx is the another annotation we are having. Right. Courier interface is regular interface, guys, where declaration of the method is there. That's it. But all dependent classes are implementing common interface. What is that interface, guys? Courier interface. That's fine. It's the same old one, guys, which we are using from the beginning while explaining strategy design pattern. Next one is what? First flight. Today we have taken first flight. No, any order you can configure, not a issue, boss. At the rate component, guys, F flight. At the rate component, F flight. Next one, go to first fifth target class, guys. First, let me configure it as what? At the rate component, at the rate component, FPKT. Yes, all these are stereotype annotations are class level annotations, boss. Okay, boss. At the rate auto wide FedEx, boss. So now As I said, industry prefers field level injections a lot. I'm removing remaining constructor and other things. But I'm just keeping one zero param constructor to give the feeling object is created. No other reason, to just give the feeling object is created. Sys trace. Here is my zero param constructor, guys. Zero param constructor. The above stereotype annotations are class level annotations to configure user defined classes as Spring Beans. Okay, guys, everyone please concentrate now. Yes, but observe client application still, everyone please focus, still looking everything in the XML file or not. But are we configuring anything in XML file, guys? Are we configuring anything in XML file, guys? No. But through XML file, I have to give instruction to container. Hey container, no Spring Bean is configured here, but go and search in so and so package. You may find classes with what? Stereotype annotation, and please recognize them as Spring Beans. We have to give this instruction to IOC container through XML file or not. After all, I linked XML file. After all, I linked XML file. After all, I linked XML file with Spring Bean or not. Are you listening my statement, boss? Yes. So for that purpose, we need to add one special tag called component scanning, boss. Component scanning means we are asking IOC container, hey IOC container, go to so and so packages, search for stereotype annotation. If any stereotype annotation classes are there, take them and configure them as Spring Beans by creating necessary objects as part of pre-instantiation. Check it out. Component scan, guys. Okay. If bean IDs are not configured, default bean IDs will be taken. First focus what I am presenting, Mr. Sushmita. First focus what I am trying to give. Later we will discuss what happens if that is not there, this is not there. Please, everyone, please focus what I am trying to present. Com dot nt dot beans. Yes. com.nt.beans. See, guys, luckily, not beans, guys. COMP. What is the package name? All these are there in a package called COMP. Did you notice that, boss? com.nt.comp. All these Spring Beans are there in the same place or not there? Super, boss. This is enough. Sir, you are not writing context colon annotation config also. Observe very carefully. If you write context colon component scan, automatically annotation config will be affected. See, guys, this tag implies effect of annotation config tag activating required auto void post construct pre-destroy @resource persistence constant. That means if you place this tag, that is equal to placing what? Context colon annotation config. That means there is no need of separately writing this tag, boss. There is no need of writing separately this tag. No need of activating @auto separately. If you place this component scan tag internally, it also contains the meaning of what? Annotation config, boss. So that's the reason @auto annotation also will be activated automatically. Are you listening my statement, boss? Right. I will give the flow. Don't worry. I will definitely give the flow. Please concentrate. See, guys, slowly XML is reducing, annotation part is increasing or not? Okay. So now tell me, when I run this application, you will get ambiguity problem or output? Everyone, please respond. When I run this application, you will get ambiguity problem or output? Ambiguity problem. Why, sir? Why, sir? This container is what? Application context container. Okay. All the beans are configured as what? Singleton. By default scope of any bean is what? Singleton. Total how many beans are there, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total 5 beans are there. Okay, in that one target, 4 dependents. But all 4 dependents are matching to inject to target class property or not? Yes. Look at the first. Okay. No, I'll remove this. Matching to inject or not? Then what you will get, guys? What you will get? Ambiguity problem. Are you understanding my statement? Check it out. When I try to run the application, you will get ambiguity problem. See, all are instantiated. That means they are recognized or not. Blue Dot is instantiated, DTDC is instantiated, FedEx is instantiated, First Flight is instantiated, Flipkart is instantiated. But towards @auto injection problems are coming or not there. That means as part of recognizing Java classes as Spring Bean, doing instantiation, no problem. But towards injection problem has come. Ambiguity problem has come. How to solve this ambiguity problem, my dear? In order to solve this ambiguity problem, go to this place. As usually, we can work with what? @qualifier or not? As usually, we can work with @qualifier or not? Okay, guys. FedEx. Now, see this. What is the bean ID? FedEx. What I have mentioned here. What I have mentioned here? FedEx here. Now you observe this. Right. Even though all are pre-instantiated, what is the one that is injected, guys? FedEx got injected or not? FedEx got injected or not? I hope you noticed this point. Yes. Okay, boss. So now let me add one small point. Then I will give the flow of entire application. This tag automatically gives the effect of context colon annotation config. Tag Suchi Parida, the same old discussion what we discussed earlier, ambiguity problem, guys. Courier. Suchi Parida, I think you missed some classes. Please read old document once. This tag automatically gives the effect of context colon annotation config tag, guys. config tag to activate @auto_void @required and etc. 7 annotations. I hope you remember that point, boss. Other day we discussed na, to activate 7 annotations, we have to write context colon annotation config. If we write context colon component scan, there is no need of writing what context colon annotation config tag. Automatically that will be activated. So, but in this environment, shall we understand the flow, boss? Complete flow, boss? Shall we go for it now? Are you understanding my statement, boss? Right. So I want to give entire example flow of execution, guys. Everyone, please be ready. Example application on stereotype annotation. Other day we have seen flow for @required. Similarly, we are going to understand flow for @auto_void and @stereotype annotations. So please focus. This is very crucial part, boss. Stereotype annotations. Yes. Listen, guys, to solve ambiguity problem, not only qualifier, we can use @primary, all the techniques we have given now, you can use all the things. Please don't again bring back to the same discussions. Devansh, Devansh, you can use any of your choice. There is no rule here. We should use @qualifier. Here you should use @primary. It's up to you. Okay. But @qualifier is important. It can be linked with properties file. To solve ambiguity problem, though there are so many techniques, but @qualifier is recommended. Later, it can be linked with property file to collect the bean ID dynamically at runtime. So that's why I always prefer working with what @qualifier. So you can use any technique to solve the ambiguity problem, but @qualifier is the best. This is what we discussed. Why it is best, I will talk. Okay, Govardhan Reddy, there is an annotation called @scope. I'll introduce that. But right now, our focus is not on bean scopes. Our focus is on how this code is executing. Please stick to one annotation at a time. If you try to rotate your entire XML knowledge parallel to annotation, we cannot go further. I'll introduce. Okay, now please focus. Yes, boss. So here is our Flipkart.java, boss. Here is our Flipkart.java, target class Flipkart.java. Target class Flipkart.java. And it belongs to which package, guys? com.nt.comp. Yes, boss. Yeah, this is your target class, guys. Then we have got some dependent classes. dependent classes, guys. Everyone please focus. Here is my DTDC one. I don't give all the things. I'll give few of them. Say paste, guys. FedEx. FedEx.java. DTDC.java, FedEx.java. This is our target class, guys. Let us assume right now we are having only these things. Flipkart. Flipkart.java. I'm assuming as of now we are having, I'm not taking all the dependents, guys. As of I'm taking only these dependents as of now. Only two dependents I'm taking to make simple things. This is our paste here. This is directory structure, guys. In this directory structure, I'm just worried about highlighting only. Blue dot you remove. First first flight you remove. DTDC you remove. Okay, just assume that only these things are these things. I think DTDC also required. I'm just reducing number of dependent classes to make explanation easy, nothing else. Yes, boss. Yes. Okay, now listen carefully, boss. Now here is my application context.xml file. Here is our application context.xml file, boss. This is our application context.xml. Say paste. That's nice, boss. Next one. Here is our client application. Client application. Where is the client application? Yes, boss. Everyone please focus nice. We run the client application. Control comes to the main method. Everyone comfortable so far, guys? I just pasted the code, nothing else. I just pasted the code, nothing else. Yes, yeah. Yeah, boss. Main method. It creates IOC container. B. It simply try to create IOC container. IOC container creation. Number C. It will try to prepare in-memory metadata of Spring Bean configuration file. It loads XML, checks whether it is well formed or not, valid or not, And at the end, it will try to prepare what? In-memory metadata of Spring Bean configuration file. In-memory metadata of Spring Bean configuration file. Of Spring Bean configuration file. Here is what? IOC container creation. Yes. Okay, guys. Now it comes to Spring Bean configuration file. It comes to Spring Bean configuration file and observes this one, boss. Observes this one. What it observes? Everyone please concentrate. What it observe? Context colon component scan it observed. Observed that one or not there? Context colon component scan. What's the meaning of that? Hey IOC container. Okay, please go to this package to scan the packages and to recognize the classes that are configured with the stereotype annotation as Spring Beans. That's the meaning of that, guys. That's the meaning of that. Are you understanding my statement, boss? Okay. So this will be recognized. But listen, guys, but before scanning that one, it activates it activates 7 annotations related to context colon annotation config. Don't forget that. 7 annotations activates. Array, this tag internally contains the meaning of what? Context colon annotation config na, boss. First it activates those 7 annotations. Activates 7 annotations including @auto-wide @auto-wide related to context colon auto config. Context colon auto config tag. So now @auto-wide related bean post processor is activated, boss. That means @auto-wide annotation is activated. I hope you noticed that one, boss. Right. Now it comes to what? com.nt.component package. EF. com.nt.component package, guys. It observes com.nt.component package. There it will use reflection API and start searching. It will use reflection API and start searching. Are there any classes? Are there any classes that are configured with stereotype annotations? Yes, available. Are you observing that, boss? Yes, available. Yes, available. Array, I already said component scan internally activates auto config. Devash Pandey, please listen class properly. Yes, DE. Now listen carefully. After that F related to component scan only. Which no, after activating this, component scan will start searching in the component package. So at the end, who will search? Component scan only will search. But first it activate config, then it will go for. This is the internal process, boss. Activating, it's an internal process. First, after activating this annotation, @auto-wide annotation, it comes to this package. In this package, it will start searching. Observe. So this belongs to this package only, na? Yes, same package. This belongs to this package only, na? Same package. This belongs to this package only, na? Same package. And observe very carefully, no scope is specified. Even no scope is specified, what is the default scope, guys? When no scope is specified, what is the default scope, guys? Singleton scope. That means all the three things are having singleton scope only, na boss? All the three things are having singleton scope only, na boss? Right, guys. So now listen, what is this? FG. G. Searches for stere- stereotype annotation. Stereotype annotation classes. Stereotype annotations based Java classes in com.nt.component package. Component package having singleton scope. Singleton scope. No scope is specified. No scope is specified. That means singleton. No scope is specified. That means singleton, guys. Okay. Now listen, guys. Here, sir, all three are singleton, na? In which order it will be taken, sir? In which order it will be taken? So, in which order it will be taken? Observe very carefully, guys. Generally, it will go by alphabetic order only. Check it out. Blue Dot, DTDC, FedEx, First Flight, Flipkart. Are you observing, right? It is going by alphabetic order or not? Blue Dot, DTDC. Okay, boss. So now here, what is the alphabetic order? All the three are this one. So that's why first what it will try to pre-instantiate DTDC one. A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, first it will try to pre-instantiate what? DTDC1. Understanding my point? Arun Kumar, if no scope is specified, default scope is singleton, ra babu. Attend classes regularly, please. Arun Kumar, don't come classes once in a while. Guys, how many days back we discussed if no scope is specified, default scope is singleton, guys. Anywhere, XML or anywhere, no scope is specified, default scope is what? Singleton only. So now tell me, guys, in this process, first it will detect what? This one, boss. Yeah, what is the number? GH. It loads the class and creates the object, boss. It simply loads the class and creates the object. What is this? DTDC class object is loaded and object is created. Array, I have removed blue dot. Devansh, please, everyone, please, guys, uh, don't worry about remaining classes. Worry about only those classes that are mentioned here. Don't confuse yourself. To reduce confusion, I have removed some classes here. I am taking only one target, two dependents. Among those dependent, DTDC is getting higher alphabet or not? Please, guys, that I have shown only for demonstration purpose. Okay, guys, here DTDC class object is created. DTDC class object is created. What is the name of that one, guys? DTDC. Are I said na bean ID becomes object name. Bean ID becomes what? Object name. Abish, Abhinash, did we configure interface as a Spring Bean, guys? Did we configure interface as Spring Bean? Why it will create object for interface? Show some maturity, guys. Did I write any interface on the top of interface annotation? Did I write any annotation on the top of interface? No, na. And moreover, how object will be created for interface? Please sit in the core Java first. That is taken only for loose coupling na. Show some maturity, guys. We are learning Spring. Don't forget that. Right, guys. Here, what object is created? DTDC class object is created, boss. So same number H I am writing here. All these are happening as part of pre-instantiation. Don't forget that. All these are happening as part of pre-instantiation. This H is for what, guys? Pre-instantiation. Pre-instantiation. After that, what next? It comes to FedEx. FedEx, I'm taking only two dependents. I. Here also what's happening, guys? Pre-instantiation is happening. Here also pre-instantiation is happening. So here also FedEx class object, boss. FedEx class object. Yes. What is the bean ID, boss? FedEx. Are you listening my statement, guys? Okay, second one. This is also as part of pre-instantiation. This is I. This is I. Now listen. Next it comes to Flipkart class. It comes to what? Flipkart class. J, guys. Here also pre-instantiation takes place. Here also pre-instantiation takes place. Okay, guys. FPKT. What is this? FPKT. Here is my Flipkart class object. But don't forget, here we are having one property called courier. In Flipkart class object, there is a property called courier, guys. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. And on the top of it, what is there, guys? On the top of it, what is there? @auto-void is there. On the top of it, what is there? @auto-void is there. Are you noticing it, boss? Actual story is this one. So this is J, boss. Object creation is J. Pre-instantiation of all three singleton scope beans are over. Now, listen. Now, three beans are created. Na? These three beans related, three bean post processor. @auto-void bean post processor will be activated. Is there any @auto-void on the DTDC? No. Is there any @auto-void on FedEx? No. Is there any @auto-void on the Flipkart object? Yes. Yes. Is there any @auto-void on the top of on the Flipkart object, guys? Yes, available. Are you noticing it, guys? Here, what is there? @auto-void is there. @auto-void is there. But problem is what? What is the type of the property? Courier. What is the type of the property? Courier. Okay. Is there any Spring Bean object whose name is courier? No. Is there any Spring Bean object whose type is courier? Yes. But how many are there? Multiple are there. So ambiguity problem is there or not there? Then it will search for ambiguity problem is there, but it noticed one more thing. What is that? At the rate qualifier it noticed. I hope you noticed that at the rate qualifier it noticed. So since it observed at the rate qualifier, so what happens, guys? It noticed at the rate qualifier, at the rate qualifier FedEx, at the rate qualifier FedEx. Since it has noticed at the rate qualifier FedEx, what happens, guys? Using reflection API, it will get access to this property, and object FedEx will be injected to this property or not? Object FedEx will be injected to this property or not? Are you noticing it, guys? Object FedEx will be injected to this property. So this is going to be what, guys? This is going to be K. Injection, field level injection is going to be K. Okay, once again, observe the K step, guys. Everyone, please focus and concentrate on K step. Okay, listen. Everyone clear with pre-instantiation of singleton scope beans, guys? Up to J, everyone is clear? Shall I go further? Up to J, everyone clear? Now listen carefully. Now, at the rate auto void annotation related bean post processor is activated, it will search. Is there any at the rate auto void in DTDC? Not there. Is there any at the rate auto void in FedEx? Not there. Is there any at the rate auto void in Flipkart? Yes. Is there any at the rate auto void in Flipkart? Yes. On which property? Courier property. What is the type of the courier property? That's the interface courier, boss. What is the type of the courier property, guys? Interface courier. Interface courier. But matching that courier property, how many are there? Multiple dependents are there. Ambiguity problem. Ambiguity problem. Then it will search. Is there any Spring Bean object whose bean ID is FedEx? Yes, available or not available? Yes, available. Takes that and injects that one, boss. Takes that object and injects that object. So now ambiguity problem got solved or not? I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. Everyone getting my point here, guys? So ultimately what happened after creating object, guys? After creating object, now it is trying to perform activity related to at the rate auto void. In that process, it found multiple matchings are there. That's why it is taking the support of at the rate qualifier and solving the problem. And this keyword field injection. This injection indicates what, guys? Field injection. Yes, guys. Once field injection is over, and you know that all singleton scope beans will be kept in what? Internal cache of the IOC container. They will be placed in internal cache of the IOC container. Internal cache, guys. Internal cache of IOC container. Okay, boss. In this internal cache of IOC container, what happens, guys? Array, don't worry about Bablu. Yes, boss. Here, what is this? DTDC. Here is my DTDC class object reference. Similarly, FedEx FedEx class object reference. Next, FPKT, Flipkart class object reference. Flipkart class object reference. Yes, this is going to be how much, guys? LKL. KL. Yes, objects are kept in internal cache, guys. With this, IOC container creation process is over. Then what happens, guys? I call ctx.getBean method, LM. Control comes to internal cache. In the internal cache, it found object, N question mark. Yes, boss. It has received it. Whoa. It has received it. Whoa. And on that business method is called P. So because of business method, control goes to business method execution. P, Q. And it returns the result R. And the result comes to this place. R, yes. R, yes. And at the end, we display the result T. Here is the T. I hope you got the clear-cut clarity, boss. Come on. Can I repeat the flow one more time? Clear-cut clarity has come here or not? Okay, once again, see this. I run the application. Control comes to main method. B, IOC container is created. Easy na, boss? Next, number C. XML file is loaded, verified well formed or not, valid or not, and in-memory metadata of Spring Bean configuration file is created. Super. Next, D. It noticed context colon component scan, guys. It noticed component scan, but that internally activates what? Internally activates what? @ void related, context colon auto config tag related, auto void annotation. Actually, total 7 annotations it activate, including auto void. Okay, guys. Next, that is E. Because of context colon component scan, it goes to this package. It package and searches for G, searches for the classes that are configured with the stereotype annotation having singleton scope. Multiple singleton scopes are there. Alphabet wise, it will try to perform pre-instantiation. Pre-instantiation. In that process, first it notices DTDC. See, guys, H pre-instantiation. DTDC class object is created, having bean ID as the object name. Bean ID as the object name. Then FedEx class object is created, having bean ID as the object name. Then Flipkart class object is created, having FPKT as the bean ID as the object name. Next, since bean class objects are created, okay, bean class objects are created, 7 annotations are there, na? Each annotation will be verified whether those annotations are there or not there. In that process, it notices @ auto void annotation is there in DTDC. No. FedEx, no. Flipkart, yes. On which property? Courier property. What is the type of the property? Courier. But of type courier, how many Spring Beans are there? 2 are there. Ambiguity problem is raised. Then it will search, is there any qualifier or any other technique to solve the ambiguity problem? Yes, at the rate qualifier is there. Due to this, even though DTDC is there, that will be ignored, and FedEx object will be injected to Flipkart object. FedEx object will be injected to Flipkart object. That is K. Now, it will keep all Spring Bean class object because all are having singleton scope in the internal cache of IOC container. With this, IOC container creation is completed. Then ctx.getBean method is called. Control comes and search. Is there any Spring Bean whose bean ID is FPKT? Yes, there. You will get access to flip class object reference. On that business method is called. Business method has executed and return some result. That result comes back to what? Client application. Client application is displaying the result. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed the flow, guys. Flow is very, very important, guys. I hope you got crystal clear clarity, guys. How at the rate auto wide working, how stereotype annotations are working. So when I introduce step by step, you have to show bit patience. Once you show patience, at the end, I will give complete clarity, boss, how internal things are happening. I think you enjoyed it, guys. I hope you got crystal clear clarity, guys. Yes, still some more discussions are there. I will take up when we meet in tomorrow's session. Thank you, guys. Have a nice time.